just dropping away now like flies. And come the new year, whatever candidates run from whatever parties, besides Fianna Fáil, they'll be up against nothing. Nobody wants the fucking job anymore. Because what's the point? They wouldn't be running the country one way or the other. It's all based on the paper money. And that's why I'm saying that's got to go.
The paper money is your enslavement. That's how they enslave you. You got to pay your taxes. You don't own nothing. If you don't pay the taxes on that home that you got, you miss a payment next year. Ooh, you lost your home. And we had over 1 million Americans lose their homes. Why? Because they couldn't get a job.
Well, we have here, I know it's much smaller, but at the present moment, we have 40,000 people in this country defaulting on their mortgages, right? Now that means that 40,000 homes, families I presume, averaging out at whatever it is, 2.5 kids, you know, then all of a sudden you've got maybe 150,000 people that are homeless, and we have 300,000 houses in this country unoccupied because the builders, construction companies built them and couldn't sell them. Now they're fucking worthless. People are living in, now their homes are in negative equity. They're not worth fucking paper that is fucking written on. And the banks will take all this back. And the banks will take back these homes, and the people that they fucked out of their homes will pay taxes still to bail the banks out. It's all fucking, I don't know what the fuck it's got. I don't know where they're coming from. You know, and what's going to happen here, right? I can see it coming. There will be a revolution. I've no fucking doubt about it. Now, my position here is I never got involved in the Celtic Tiger for the simple reason is I saw it. Saw exactly what was going on. So I didn't get involved. So my position now is I've got my own home here in this housing estate. Right? I pay rent there, right? And my rent is 24 euros a week. That's maybe between, maybe it's what, it's $30, $35, something like that. I've got so many free units of electricity every month. You know, I've got telephone allowances I get from the government. I've got fuel allowances that I get from the government. And all of this came on with the Celtic Tiger. And now they're in no position to take it away from me. They can't take it off. I had a situation here which is, I just get this point across to you, because I'm sure a lot of your listeners are aware of the fact that that what you're dealing with these days is you rarely see the face of somebody that you're dealing with unless it's over the telephone or it's an email or whatever it is. And I had a situation here where the ESB here, which is the Electricity Supply Board, was the only one that was here. And now what you have is you've it's been there's companies now who have sprang up during the Celtic Tiger that like we have electricity, for instance. We have gas, what do you call it, but it's the gas company, right? And what they will supply you with your electricity at a cheaper rate. Now, I signed over to a company called Airtricity because they were eco-friendly. It was all wind turbines and so on, right? And I signed over to them, but the salesman that was with me in my house asked me for a bank account number for a direct debit. The only bank account number I actually had, or a bank account that I had at the time, was a savings account. And I told him this, and he said, yes, that will do fine, that's all we need. So I figured there was something wrong here, but I let it go anyway, I switched over. So what happened was then, those units I was telling you that I get free from the government here, they wouldn't actually put those credits into a savings account. They'll only put it into a current account, and I wasn't aware of that at the time, but I knew there was something wrong. So then I was getting bills from this company telling me that I hadn't paid them. So I told them to actually look into their sales team, and they did. And then I told them, well, there you go. I said, your sales team told me that I could, that if I gave them this account number, everything was fine. Turns out it's not. So then this guy is on the phone to me and he wants me to pay out of my own pocket. So I told him to go and fuck himself. Right? I said, when I get it sorted out, then you'll be sorted out. So 3 times since then, I've had a crew here, a technical crew, who would be operating from the original ASB, come out to switch off my electricity. And that's the first time I have seen the human face of what I'm dealing. And I was able to talk to those guys face to face and tell them exactly what the problem was, and they refused to cut off my electricity. Because when I explained to them what went on, they agreed it wasn't my fault. They rang, said they weren't cutting me off, and that's the end of it. And now I still have my electricity here. I'm not paying anything for it, and they go fuck themselves as I'm switching back to the ESB, and they can't stop me.
Okay, now on the chat room, Joe, they're asking me about the situation in Ireland, about the influx of third worlders. You know,
oh yeah.
They want to know, what about the foreigners invading Dublin? They want to know.
Well,
what's happening there?
They're all over here. It's not so much Dublin. We have a lot of Nigerians, Polish. There's a Nigerian community, as you call it, in town. All these apartment blocks that were built, and it's mostly Nigerians, Polish, Russian, all Eastern countries, you know, like Moldova and all of those. Now, they're fine, but most of them are living off the state here, right? And I don't have a problem with those people. And funnily enough, I thought matters here would get very bad, but they didn't. We're not racist in this country. We're islanders, and that's what it is. And we look at anyone who comes in here, and we're interested in to know what they're actually up to. But what they have done here is Eastern Bloc countries in particular, the people who come from there are a lot of them have been. They would have all been in the military in their own countries, and they're quite. They can be quite vicious people. We've had a lot of murders in this country since they've came here. They've been involved, not like all different nationalities, more so than ourselves. You know, and that's the problem we've had here. We've had they got grants when they came in here. For instance, they weren't allowed to work when they came here, right? If they were from outside the European community. But what they were given is where they were given an allowance every week that they could live on. They were also given a socialising allowance. That means they can go out and have their few beers in the pub. They were also given an allowance to buy cars, which we weren't given. They were given all of these things. And there is the very basis for racism. And racism goes back to governments. You wouldn't have racism in your country if the British hadn't gone off around the planet and enslaved countries, and then those countries became British what do you call it, British citizens and such,